This is The Point, news from Noise, daily market call presented by Kattan Ferretti Financial. I'm your CEO, Brad Roth, and I look forward to having a daily discussion with you over the topics that we present in this note every single morning. So without further ado, The Point. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to The Point. It is after a holiday weekend, and Cameron and I are both a little bit groggy, but you might as well hit us with the news, bud.
All right. U.S. futures are mixed this morning and mostly flat, as the Dow and S&P show minimal gains with the NASDAQ trading lower. The U.S. dollar traded slightly lower, while gold dropped 0.4% and oil tumbled 1.5% to $46.36 per barrel. Markets await big news to be reported today, with the Federal Open Market Committee issuing the minutes of its previous meeting. Investors will be looking for borrowing costs and the fate of central bank balance sheets. A market analyst in London called it the major macroeconomic highlight as the U.S. returns from the Independence Day break, referring to its major weight on U.S. yields and the dollar, and this will be reported at 2 p.m. U.S. crude inventories are to be released today as expectations are set at a decrease of 2.5 million barrels. Traders are bracing for a comeback of volatility as the VIX saw its lowest quarterly average since 2006, as J.P. Morgan is warning of more market turbulence. Volvo has vowed its end of combustion cars and claimed that every new model in 2019 will feature an electric motor as we press on towards the gasless era. Apple continues to innovate as they strive for a new feature on the next iPhone to use your face to unlock the device, as the new design of the phone is not expected to leave room for the home button. Outside the United States, European stocks were mixed, with the Stoxx 600 index little changed after a 1.1% gain on Monday, and the euro and pound both saw minimal losses. Markets also await a report of minutes from the European Central Bank due tomorrow. The Composite Purchasing Managers Index for the euro area was reported this morning and showed continued robust growth as companies are now struggling to hire workers fast enough to meet increasing demand. The Bank of England is expected to raise interest rates for the first time in 10 years, as Michael Saunders, a member of the Rates-Setting Monetary Policy Committee, said that our foot is pretty much on the floor with the accelerator. A rocket was launched by Kim Jong-un as North Korea showed its first intercontinental ballistic missile has potential to reach the United States. The United Nations Security Council is set to hold an emergency meeting today in an attempt to resolve the situation. The Japanese and Hong Kong equities rose thanks to gain in automakers and technology companies as the yen fell 0.3%. The Pakistan rupee dropped the most in 9 years as the central bank is under scrutiny for devaluing the currency, dropping 3.1% to the dollar. And lastly, a meeting today on Qatar will decide its next move as its deadline to comply with a list of demands from other nations will expire today. So, Brad, not a whole lot going on, just kind of waiting for the Fed today.
Yeah, it's kind of that midsummer lull in the markets. But, you know, as you say that and read down the news, a couple things really jumped out at me. One, oil, one we talked about on Monday with Qatar, but two, you know, oil does have the opportunity to affect markets, and energy has absolutely taken a beating. So I'm going to keep an eye. There. Like you said, Federal Reserve, but more importantly, I don't think the U.S. Federal Reserve really has the opportunity to move markets as much as the European Central Bank and Bank of England and their decisions. I mean, the Bank of England moving to higher interest rates is something I think might be a little bit premature. They are not in any sort of stable state like the United States, so that might be a little bit premature. That could be your market mover. Over the Fed, I think we kind of know what the baked-in expectations are of the Fed. Lastly, VIX being at an all-time average monthly low really doesn't tell you anything other than there's a lot of complacency, and they think that this market can continue to go higher and higher. Doesn't mean that there's immediate volatility ahead. What it does mean is it's probably time, and like we had even said on Monday, you know, there's times to be aggressive and there's times not to be, but you know, generally a VIX low like that for a prolonged period of times means that there's a significant amount of complacency in the markets. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. But even in the markets, Cam, there's no news. There's no news in sports. Like, I don't know what are we supposed to do with ourselves?
I don't know. Literally nothing, I guess. Like, no golf today. But I guess good news is Pirates won last night, beat the Phillies 3-0. McCutchen really, really turned it on. Had 2 home runs last night, 3 for 4, and is now up to 288.
Woo!
So, I mean, he's
after
been on fire.
Playing horrible at the beginning of the season, but turned on. They're only a few games back, I think. I think it's like 2.5 or 3. I'm not sure.
I wouldn't get your hopes up on that.
All right, well, this has been, it's easy for me to remember the date today, Wednesday, July 5th. The Point. We will see you all tomorrow.